We got some Texas hair today. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin Winters. I'm the owner of Bare by Erin, which is a holistic beauty brand focused around beauty rituals and self-care being a pathway of coming home to yourself and really honoring your self-love. In this video, I thought that we would do a follow along to my super simple skincare routine and my everyday makeup routine. And I'll also give you just a few of my favorite tips as an esthetician and makeup artist. So one of my number one underrated skincare tips when it comes to products is to have your skin be slightly damp before applying any products. So ideally, freshly after you've washed your face or even fresh out of the shower, gently pat your face so it's not dripping wet, but leave a little bit of the water on your skin. The dampness and moisture helps pull products deeper into your skin. So having a little bit of that water molecule is actually going to absorb more of the products and pull them in deeper. Something to be aware of is we don't want our face completely wet, because then when we're putting serums on top of that, it is just going to wipe away. But having a little dampness is the key. You can also create that with a toner. You're just gonna be using a lot more of your product. Toners are really misused often. They're used as just like a hydrating spray to moisten the skin. And a really good toner is actually more like a treatment. So you're getting the most out of the toner and the facial mist by already having some dampness on the skin. So that's gonna pull these molecules deeper into the skin, which is helping with saturation. So after my skincare toner, I'm gonna go in with my hydrator, and I'm gonna just do like a quarter of a pump of a hydrator and mix it with my vitamin C. So I blend that between my palms, and I always like to pat on my skin before rubbing. So I'll pat that on my cheeks, bring it up to my forehead. This helps reduce friction. This also helps press the products deeper into your skin. And it allows me to slow down with my routine and create it more as a ritual by being intentional with every place that I put the product. So after applying my toner and my hydrator with my antioxidant, I'm gonna go in with oil. I am currently obsessed with ritual oil. This is 100% moringa with blue lotus. Oh my gosh. I mean, talk about really up-leveling your beauty ritual. The way that this smells, it like seriously reminds me of just being in this like luxurious bathhouse. It makes me feel like I'm Cleopatra during Egyptian times and I'm bathing in goat's milk and honey with roses. It has a really beautiful floral smell. And what I really like is that I can now smell this on my pillow after sleeping, and it makes my hair smell really good too. So again, I like to pat my oils into my skin. Usually I'll spread it between my palms, and I'll start on my cheekbones and the high points of my face first. Cheekbones, forehead, start to move that over the rest of my face. Once my serums and my oils are seeping more into my skin, then I will go in and put on just a really light moisturizer. I don't always use moisturizer. I personally have noticed that my skin does better with hydrators, serums, and oils, but sometimes I'll go in with a moisturizer and just seal all of that in on the top. So a common concern and a common question that I get a lot around skincare is, clients will say, I'm using a moisturizer and it's a really good quality one. Why is my skin still dry? And I'll ask them what their skincare regimen is and what other products they're using, and all they're using is a moisturizer, which if you think about the molecular size, a moisturizer is creating an occlusive layer, so that is just going to sit on the top of the skin. It's not penetrating into the deeper layers. It's not creating any saturation. There's also no correction to it either. So there's really only so much that a moisturizer can do, but it is beneficial, especially in different environments and weather changes seasonally too. So I like using the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. Even with this, I always like to pat first too. I'm using my camera as my mirror. So I'll just really pat into my skin. And I start where there's the majority of redness. So I tend to get a little more red on my chin, on my cheeks, maybe my upper lip. Then I'll bring it to my nose, and then I'll pat underneath my eyes. I don't do concealer every day, especially underneath my eyes. So I really like the coverage that this gives me. I just think it's really pretty. It's really natural. I don't love having a lot of makeup on my forehead. I think that's when it can start to look like I have makeup on. So whatever is left over on my fingertips, that's what I'll bring up to my forehead. Just going in with a little bit of contour. And I always start on the high points of my cheekbone. And I don't use too much. And then I'll do the high points on my forehead. And sometimes I'll do underneath my jaw, but most days I don't. I keep it really natural. Again, with my brush, I always like to pat before I swipe. This is going to melt the product into the skin more as opposed to moving it around. After I've blended in any of my bronzer or contour, I like to take my brush and I'll just place it on the outer corner of my eye, focusing on getting the crease right here and just where that connects up to my forehead. And I'll just go right over my brow. Next, we'll go in with some blush. I love cream blush so much, and I have actually really been enjoying putting it a little bit higher on my cheeks. So starting up more on my cheekbone, I don't really want to bring it down on the apples of my cheeks. We naturally tend to blush higher, and I also want to lift and open my face, especially for somebody who has a little bit more of a round face. So just applying on the tops of my cheekbones. And then I always swipe over my nose because I think that is the most adorable look. Sometimes I use my fingers and sometimes I will use a brush. If I'm using my fingers, it's going to keep more product on my face. So it kind of depends on the look that I'm going for. I think today we're going to use a brush just to tone it down a little bit. I don't really try to avoid the eye that much. It's okay if it gets close to it. I think it's kind of a cute look, just giving this like really like rosy cheek like close to the eye. I think it's adorable. So now just setting that with a little bit of bronzer. I'm just gonna go right over on top, and again patting just to kind of set in the product that we just put on. That was more of like a cream base. Pat that on the forehead too. And then I love just taking the brush, then a stippled brush, excuse me, an angled contour brush, and I'll just pick up some of the bronzer, and that's what I'm gonna bring into my crease. Again, this is just my everyday, like really simple. I like things to look melted into my skin. I like to follow the natural contour of the bone structure of my face, and it really doesn't need to be precise. So now I'm just picking up a little bit of any of the highlighter and just doing my inner corner to give me a little bit of highlight and glow. Always, always, always brush through the brows, always. Fun fact, I brush my eyebrows more than I brush my hair. Honestly, most days I don't brush my hair. And I will brush through my eyebrows probably at least 25 times a day. So now we are applying some mascara. I'll fan through my lashes quite a few times. If I really, really, really wanted something super natural, I'll just brush my lashes out before and then really focus on just one coat. I won't even try to target the roots of my lashes, but I don't mind having a little more dramatic mascara today. So I'll put mascara on the bottom lashes. If I do, I tend to focus more on the outer lashes and maybe just like the tips of my lashes, just so there's a little bit of black but isn't like intense. Final step, you can even take your cream blush and put a little bit on your lips. Just make sure that they are hydrated and moisturized before, otherwise it's gonna look a little more dry and kind of chunky. But that's it. Super simple, clean, natural beauty. That honestly in real time took me 10 minutes to do both, and it's just a way that sets me up for feeling like I'm looking good on the outside and just feeling good on the inside. So I hope this helps.